Watches have always been associated with really cool stuff. We have this romantic idea of just these artisan craftsmen up in the Swiss Alps creating these beautiful timepieces. James Bond for 60, 70 years has been kicking around wearing really cool watches. We associate them with him. Even when they have like the Academy Awards, you have these celebrities on the red carpet ripping these really cool watches. But even with all that, there is no closer, cooler association with watches than that of cars. Tag Heuer is the new official timekeeper of Formula One. Now, I wouldn't know anything about that being from where I'm at. All we got down here is NASCAR, which is, you know, a thing. But a large percentage of the watches you see, chronographs, they're basically just designed to like time race cars, right? So I thought it'd be fun to take a bunch of watch companies and compare them to their car company counterparts. Think of your favorite watch brand. What car company are they the most like? Let's just dive right in. First up, you got Seiko, an affordable workhorse of a watch that is loved by everybody all over the world. If you want a mechanical watch and you only got a few $100s to spend, typically you just buy a Seiko and you're all set. So I racked my brain trying to think of what car company would be like that, and it's obvious. It's Toyota. Nothing flashy, just regular old standard cars. They're just put together and they're really reliable. People love Toyota, people love Seiko. Probably, really honestly, the easiest selection on this entire list. Well, let's go ahead and bump it up then to Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko, they got the spring drive, they have some really nice finishing, they're really kind of an elevated version of a Seiko. So you may think to yourself, well, an elevated version of a Seiko, well, that's gonna be an elevated version of a Toyota, right? That's a Lexus. Wrong, it's not a Lexus. Grand Seiko is Tesla. They both use new technology that's unfamiliar and scary to a lot of people. It drives a lot of people away. They both have like a cult following. And you talk to people that love Tesla, you talk to people that love Grand Seiko, and they're just like, this is the greatest thing there. Why would you ever buy anything else? If you know, you know, or you just don't get it. I don't think there's a ton of people that are kind of like, Tesla's okay, Grand Seiko's okay. No, you're either on one side of the fence or the other. Grand Seiko is Tesla. We mentioned Lexus already. Let's go ahead and just talk about what watch company I think is Lexus. It might surprise you, but I'm gonna go with Tudor. It's a luxury brand, but it's kind of like only gotten a big start in relatively recent history. I know Tudor's been around forever and ever and ever, okay? But only recently has it really picked up steam. Lexus didn't really even exist till the 90s when they started pumping out luxury cars. They're as well made as their counterparts, sometimes a lot better in both cases, right? Definitely Tudor is Lexus, without a doubt. Christopher Ward, I'm just pulling these off the list like randomly as I come to them. So Christopher Ward is a tough one. Christopher Ward has been making watches now for a good while. They've built a really good reputation, but they had some down points. They've had some mistakes in the past. However, they're moving out of their comfort zone. They have the Loco, they've got the Bel Canto, they've got some interesting engineering and some nice design. They have their own in-house movements now. The analog for that, we need a car company that has been around, but they're just recently starting to make a good name for themselves and changing the public opinion. It's Hyundai. Christopher Ward is Hyundai. At one point, both of those companies may have considered to be like a budget brand, but they're now kind of like moving into a more luxury kind of tier. They've built up a reputation and enough capital to start doing really cool things. That's it. Christopher Ward is Hyundai. Cartier. The first company to ever really make a wristwatch, really? We gotta go like, they're old school, classic, old money, but not like mega rich kind of watches. I mean, it's gotta be Mercedes-Benz, right? These two companies, if you ask somebody off the street to think of like old stuffy jewelry, they're probably gonna say like Cartier. If you guys think of like a car that like a rich person would wear, they'd probably say Mercedes-Benz. I think Cartier definitely is Mercedes-Benz. They both have like a classic styling. They stay in their lane and do what they do well. And they just epitomize luxury. I don't know any other way to put it. Swatch. Okay, now swatches, they're different, okay? They're just fun. They're just fun fashion watches. They get the job done at the end of the day. They're economical, as in they're like cheap, but they're also kind of overpriced. They're bright colors. They do what they gotta do, but they're not like a permanent solution for what you're looking for. Swatch is like a Vespa scooter. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, I have pneumonia. I was in the hospital. So when you hear me laughing, it like rattles. It sounds like an old spray paint can. I apologize. Audemars Piguet, one of the holy trinity, right up there at the very top of the watch world. They are like ultra luxury watches. I mean, you're talking some of the most expensive watches in the world. They're beautiful. They're highly sought after by rich people. They are in a category where like price doesn't matter. And people know there's like a better deal out there than an Audemars Piguet. You get more for your money somewhere else. But when you're that rich, it just doesn't matter. You just want the name on your wrist. And the watch company that is the analog to that, Ferrari. Ferraris are great cars. They have problems all the freaking time. You can't really drive them anywhere because you stand out like a sore thumb, but it's got Ferrari on the car. It's a statement piece. It's a brand piece. You wear it to rep the brand. Timex. Timex, I haven't worn a Timex since I was a kid. I know they're like up and coming. They're like, not up and coming, they've been around for freaking forever. They have started improving their standing and designing cooler watches, but they still kind of are like homaging watches, and they have some like shady manufacturing practices. We don't really know what movements they use, and they're kind of overpriced, but underpriced at the same time. They're an American company, man. Without a doubt, Timex is Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America. There's probably a lot better options for your money. The reliability is, mixed. They're hard to get serviced sometimes. They're known for kind of like ripping off other better companies, but they do their own thing. Yeah. Timex is Chevrolet. Ulysse Nardin, where we're getting in the fringes here of companies that people know. Ulysse Nardin designed the Freak, right? The most incredibly engineered and hard to make watch in the entire world. They do a lot of really strange things, but they are at the end of the day like more based around form than function, right? The Freak was designed not to be impressively done, although it is. They came up with that idea because it would look cool. And then they had to put all this insane engineering behind it to make it work. A luxury sport watch with strange engineering that kind of is off the beaten path. I'm gonna go with like Aston Martin. Aston Martin does a lot of like weird engineering stuff. Everybody that sees one's like, that's incredible and that's beautiful. But at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know that I trust my money with all this weird tinker toy engineering. Now, Aston Martins are classic. I love Aston Martins. I don't know if they're well known for their reliability. I don't think they are too much, right? And I've heard Ulysse Nardin watches kind of fit into that same category. Basically, at the end of the day, they're more style over anything, and that's okay. Orient makes great watches. They have a little bit of a weird logo. They are very affordable, but like if you need a good first reliable watch with an in-house movement that's not gonna let you down, but maybe is just gonna be the watch you wear for right now so you can afford something better, I would recommend Orient. For a car company that fits that, it's Kia. Kia, 100% Kia. Kias are good cars. They're reliable, they're affordable, they're a great first car. Yeah, Orient is Kia. Invicta, they make big, gaudy, overpriced watches that are just designed to only impress, and they only impress a certain group of people. They're loud, they make a statement, but anybody that knows what they're talking about would never wear an Invicta. The car that matches that, it's not even a company, I want to pick a car, one car. A loud, obnoxious car. Every time somebody blows by me 90 miles an hour on the highway, every time I see a freaking accident downtown, every time I see a sport car that's all beat to hell, it's always the same freaking car. A Dodge Charger. Invicta is just a Dodge Charger. I'm not saying Dodge Chargers are bad cars. There's a certain type of mindset of somebody that wants to drive specifically a Dodge Charger. Dodge Chargers are the car version of Invicta. People that own them think they've got something really cool, but everybody else looks on them disapprovingly. Omega, James Bond's watch, right? They got the Speedmaster. They have so many cool classic watches. They're a classic sport watch company. People associate them with nice watches, but they're just like the sportier version of the kind of luxury watch category. I think that Omega is like BMW. Omega's BMW, that's it. They still know how to have fun, but they're in that luxury category. You're as likely to see a 16-year-old girl driving one as you are to see like a physician driving one. Omegas are the same way. Longines, oldest trademark in the world, right? Classic watch brand, really classic designs. I think Longines makes some really beautiful looking watches, but especially in the United States, they have like kind of a reputation as a entry-level luxury, kind of like you would find at like Macy's. Like, you know, you're walking around Christmas shopping and you got to get something for like your wife, like for Christmas at the last second. And you go to the jewelry counter and you're like, what's your nicest watch? And they're like, it's a Longines. It's like, you know, $1,000. So that's what you get. Now they do make some really nice watches. There's a Longines I actually really want. I want their GMT Zulu. Is it the Zulu timer? I can't remember. The Zulu timer GMT, whatever, with the bronze bezel on it. I think that watch looks incredible. So we need a luxury car company that people like kind of respect, but they also sort of turn their nose up at it a little bit. And they're like, why didn't you get the so-and-so? It's clear as day. It's Infiniti. Infiniti is Nissan's luxury brand. People love to look down on Infiniti. Infiniti doesn't really like put out a lot of banger cars these days, but they're still good, but they are considered kind of like that meh level of luxury, I would say. Yeah, Longines is Infiniti. Casio. Casio is my favorite watch company in the entire world. They make watches for everybody, from kids up to billionaires. So many people wear Casios. They transcend the status quo. They transcend style. They are in the lexicon of just cool. They just always are awesome. I don't know that there's a car company in the world that fits that category. I don't know of a car company that poor people drive and rich people drive. Casio goes out of the box. I'm gonna go out of the box on this one. Casio is like a bicycle. Kids ride them. Billionaires still ride bicycles. It might be a $10,000 bicycles. We got $10,000 Casios. So Casio, yeah, Casio is just like a bicycle. It's just for everybody. Oris. Man, Oris is an entry-level luxury watch brand you hear about sometimes, but not a ton. They've got a ton of history. They make some really cool watches, but they are so just safe. When I see an Oris, I'm like, man, I can tell it's built well, but it just like doesn't stir anything inside of me. And when I think of a car company like that, buddy, it's gotta be Volvo. You drive a Volvo if you just want to keep your family safe, like, and you're afraid of like falling off a mountain while you're driving in Germany, right? Although I do know Volvo's made in Sweden. So yeah, same thing. You still fall off a mountain in the snow, okay? But if you're in a Volvo, you're gonna survive. Yeah, Oris is Volvo. It's just kind of like, it's the safe choice. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what it is. Sinn, a robust tool watch that is just like a cube. They're just square and they do what they're supposed to do. You can tell they're really well made and they just serve a job. Sinn is Range Rover. You just gotta go on a safari and you just like gotta make sure your vehicle's gonna get there, and you gotta like maybe go underwater at some point in your vehicle, and you know, you get your Range Rover with your snorkel system on it. You know, you're gonna get hit by a rhino or something like that. Just a bulletproof vehicle that's just made to go in harsh environments, and that's all they really care about, more or less. Hublot. Okay, everybody loves to hate on Hublot, and I'm also one of those people. So you got a big, obnoxious watch that is possibly not built very well, uses parts from other watches that are much cheaper, and then jacks the price up on them. It's gaudy and loud and drives everybody crazy, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even really do what it's supposed to do. Brother, that's Hummer. My neighbor drives a Hummer. It is always broken. You can't hardly turn around in our cul-de-sac because the thing's so freaking big. It's white, and you see it from 10 miles away. It gets like 2 miles to the gallon. It's priced like a luxury vehicle, but at the end of the day, it's like some big monstrosity. Oh yeah, buddy. Hublot is Hummer. Richard Mille, hyper luxury, the most expensive watches really, like crazy design, crazy colors, engineering through the roof, just, I mean, they made a tourbillon you can play freaking tennis with. Like, if you got all of the money in the world and you want people to know it, you are a Richard Mille. There's only one car company that's like that, like hyper mega luxury like that. It's Bugatti. There's more engineering that goes into like the freaking gear shift in a Bugatti than there is in like most normal consumer cars. And that's what a Richard Mille is like. They're definitely a vibe. They're definitely like their own thing. I wouldn't really want either one of them, even if I had all the money in the world, but people that have all the money in the world do want them. Tissot, classic Swiss company, kind of the lowest end of Swiss watchmaking that I know of really. And they had a hit. They had the PRX, very cool watch, but it's kind of like, everybody's getting a little tired of it, and I get it. So I'm thinking of a car company that like kind of fell into obscurity like Tissot did, but made a big comeback with like a huge hit. They're well made, they're well priced, but you look at them and you're like, yeah, it's getting a little dated. And I know this because I own one. It's Mazda, a Mazda CX-5. I bought a Mazda CX-5. It feels kind of like a luxury car. Leather interior, nice insides, reliable, really inexpensive, great car. But like, you look at the outside of it and you're like, yeah, I've had enough of those. do something new, Mazda. Do something new, Tissot. Vacheron Constantin, another one of the Holy Trinity. They're up at the tippy top. Old money, luxury, fancy freaking watches. Vacheron Constantin. It's only one choice. You know what it is. Say it with me. It's Rolls-Royce. That's it. Rich people watches, rich people cars. Designed to look rich. That's what they are. Citizen. I like Citizen watches. Citizen makes a lot of really cool stuff. As a matter of fact, they make like 550 really cool watches. Make some heavier duty workhorse watches like their pilot's watches and things like that. They make some sportier watches. They make some everyday watches. But to me, they feel like the alternative to Seiko. So we need a car company that's like known, but it feels like it's the alternative to something maybe you wanted more. In that case, I think you got to go with Nissan. Nissan makes some really cool cars. They also just make some cars that like, you know, like you have bad credit, and a lot of people with bad credit are known for driving these certain car models. I see them all the time. It's just like, it's the one you get because it's the price you can afford. Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted, but that's what you went with. So yeah, I think that Citizen is Nissan. Tag Heuer, F1's new official timekeeper. Lots of history, known for like sports kind of racing watches. Yeah, okay, but they're also considered to be kind of like a mall brand, and they have been for a while. In the 90s, like Tag Heuer was what every like first year banker bought. And you know, if you're hanging out on your like local county golf course, you're wearing a Tag Heuer. They've improved their image a little bit, but at the end of the day, they still feel like a middle of the road watch that is masquerading as luxury. And there is a perfect car company for that. And it's Maserati. I see used Maseratis down the hill from my house for sale all the time for like 40% of what they went for like 2 years ago. Just, they look cool. And Tag Heuer looks cool a lot of the time, but it's just kind of like, it's just got this stigma with it. I think Maserati's the same way. In their mind, they want to be like Lamborghini, but they're just not. They're just not. They're Maserati. IWC. I really like IWC. They're definitely a luxury watch brand through and through, up there with like Rolex. So I think of like a luxury car company that is kind of like off the beaten path a little bit, that isn't the one that pops into your head right away. But when you know what cool engineering is, like with IWC, and you know like they're actually made a little bit better than their counterparts. They're beautiful, they're put together amazingly, but they're still kind of like one of these watches where it's like, it's an alternative to the status quo. I use that already, but I think there's a perfect car company that meets that criteria. It's Audi. You don't want a BMW, you don't want a Mercedes, you get the Audi. It's a German luxury car, arguably better designed, but at the end of the day, people are just kind of like, oh yeah, I always forget about them. Yeah, IWC is Audi. Hamilton, love Hamilton. They make military watches primarily. They do venture out of that, but primarily military watches. Very well made, very robust, very affordable. But at the end of the day, when you tell somebody how much your Hamilton cost, they're like, oh God, it's that much? There's a perfect car company for this. It's Jeep. Do you know how much Jeeps cost? A 20-year-old Jeep will be like 80% of its new value. They just retain value like crazy. And when people hear that, they're like, are you kidding me? That's the way Hamilton is. Yeah, Hamilton's might be like $1,000, but at the end of the day, people are still like, wait, that cost $1,000? That Jeep cost $36,000. It's a 2002 and has 118,000 miles on it. But they do what they do. They stay in their lane and they kind of like are the only ones really doing what they're doing. Breitling, dude. Breitling is a cool watch company. They're definitely luxury. They have their own sort of thing they do. And they've been respected a long time, but they're just way overpriced. Breitling is just overpriced. Like it's too much. So I think of like a classic car company that's like trying to still compete with the big dogs, and they're doing their best, but they're pricing their product at the same price as the big dogs. And it's just too much. And just people they're just not gonna pay it. You know who that is? That's Cadillac. Cadillac, no one's gonna say Cadillac's not luxury, but why is Cadillac charging the same amount as freaking Mercedes-Benz and BMW? They need to be a step below that. Breitling needs to just be a step below that. Yeah, great heritage, really cool watches, really cool cars. I like Cadillac. But like, buddy, if I got that money to spend, I'm not gonna go buy a Cadillac. If I've got that money to spend, if I'm spend 10 grand, I'm not gonna go buy a Breitling. They're the same price as a Rolex. What? No, that's crazy. Still cool though, just overpriced. Patek Philippe, the last of the Holy Trinity. They're up there at the tippy top. They do make sports watches. They do make luxury watches. They are just known as like hyper just luxury. I'm trying to think of a good car company we haven't already used. Old school luxury, old money luxury, and just kind of like, it's like dumping a suitcase of diamonds out on a filigree table. I think it's gotta be Bentley. Luxury personified. There's not really much to say about it. I do like Patek Philippe, but it doesn't speak to me in any real interesting way. Not as much as Vacheron Constantin or Audemars Piguet, but they're beautiful, so are Bentleys. I've ridden in a couple Bentleys, they're very nice. The one I rode in, the glove compartment wouldn't stay closed and it was brand new. That tells you my feelings about the reputation of Bentley. And Patek Philippe's kind of like that for me. It's what you buy when you want people to know that you know what the best is. But like that's all the thought you put into it. Still, I would love to have either one of them. We saved the best for last. Rolex. Our good buddy Rolex. I own a Rolex. I love Rolex. I was gonna make Rolex Mercedes-Benz because it's classic. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized Rolex is not Mercedes-Benz. Rolex is luxury. It's sporty. It does what it does. It doesn't change its style very much. Rolexes from 50 years ago look like Rolexes pretty much from now. They just work. It has to be Porsche. Porsches are incredible cars. They're your midlife crisis car, just like Rolex is your midlife crisis watch, right? Porsches are amazing. They don't really change their designs very much. They just kind of stick with what they do and make little bitty tweaks and changes over time. They're the dealers at Porsche. The Porsche dealers are known to be kind of jerks, but the customer service is great. Same with Rolex. Yeah, Rolex is Porsche. I don't know, there's a better match on this entire list. Well guys, I'm RNG. Hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think about this. I came up with this idea when I had 103 fever and was on the verge of like dying with pneumonia, and I was lying in bed just stressing out with fever dreams. This came to me. I thought it'd be really fun. Let me know what you think. If you haven't already, do that for me. Subscribe to the channel. That is the best way to help me in the YouTube algorithm. It lets the people watching this video know that you like this content. And if you like it, maybe other people will too. Leave me a comment down below. I answer every single one of them, and give me a like. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.